Good morning. It's 7:30 and it's beautiful. It really is. Nice cool morning, sun shining, catching some spider webs in my face. I wish I would have had my phone with me this morning when the whippoorwill started singing. It was so loud and wow. But I was on my yoga mat, no phone. The birds were loud, and then by the time I got back to my phone to record, they were softer, but you heard them anyway. There is a bird that sounds kind of like a crow. It just has this, I don't know, honking, cawing song, and it is a little bit obnoxious and makes it hard to sleep, and usually goes into like the later night and also way early morning. So I heard it probably around 4 o'clock when I got up, but it stops. So I don't know what it is, and I'm very curious. I really do love the bird song. I love waking up to that every morning and going to bed to it at night. I've been thinking a lot this morning about death. I know. But it relates to a question I'm often asked, and that is, am I afraid of bears? Am I afraid of snakes? And the answer is, yeah, no, kinda, maybe, not really. And so my thoughts are, one, it's kind of like dying in a car accident. It's not something maybe you think about every time you get into the car. But do you want to die in a car accident? Probably not. So is that actually a fear? I don't think so. And I don't think that I am afraid necessarily of bears. I mean, I don't want to die, and I don't want to get attacked by a bear or bitten by a snake. But I don't walk around in life in fear. I do all the things, just like you would drive according to safety rules and regulations and things. So when I'm on trail, I pay attention, I watch where I'm going, I make noise, things like that. But I don't actually live in that fear. And it reminds me of a yoga practice, actually yoga philosophy, in that we have these kleshas, these afflictions in this human existence. And one of them is fear of death. And so we all have this certain amount of energy towards that fear of death. And there are practices that you can do, like Shavasana. You practice dying, corpse pose. And so that minimizes that fear. And I guess the practices that I do out on trail regarding animals is that I just, I don't let that negative energy come in. I just act in awareness and accept the fact that I could get bitten and I could get attacked and I could die out here, but that could happen in regular life too. Another question I get is, have I seen bears on trail or other animals? Yeah, in the last 5,000 miles that I've hiked, I've seen a couple of bear. I've seen a dozen or more rattlesnakes, a bunch of other snakes, more deer than I can count, a family of elk, moose, what else have I seen? Squirrels and chipmunks all the time. turtles and frogs and lizards, and I've seen, I guess I haven't seen any skunks. I've seen a couple of foxes, no wild boar, although I know they're out here. I haven't seen coyotes, but I've heard them. I've seen evidence of coyotes all the time on the trail. And I guess the one thing that you wouldn't see perhaps in normal life, I don't know if that's even a thing, normal life, but porcupines. I've seen a bunch of porcupines, and that's it, I think. Oh, and out west I saw other animals, like those prairie dog things, I forget what they're called, and other deer-like, what are those? There's a specific kind of deer. And I've seen, you know, your typical goats and cows and all of that. Wow, look at that tree. That is something that I also would say I don't fear, but I pay attention to. When I set up my hammock at night, I make sure that I'm not under any dead trees, but you know, trees fall all the time that aren't dead. So you never know. For all my non-hikers out there, did you know when you pass a hiker going in the opposite direction, the hiker that's ascending, the one that's climbing, is the one that gets to go? If you're going downhill, you need to move over for the other hiker. That's the rule. So many people don't know that. And even though when I'm ascending, I appreciate the opportunity to pull over, that's not how it goes in the land of hiking and backpacking. But it's just important to know, if you want to be considerate of the person making the effort climbing and not mess up their rhythm, then move over for them. And smile. And if you get an urge to like cheer them on, like go, 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 you can do it, and all of that, and you would feel weird doing it out loud, just do it silently in your head. Give them encouragement. Be their cheerleader. Send them some good energy. So this is the shelter I would have walked to last night had I wanted to push the miles. And I'm so glad I didn't. My knee feels okay, my legs feel good, my feet feel good. And it was a long way from where I stopped. And it's kind of damp. I'm sure it was pretty buggy. It's a stone shelter, which Black Rock Hut is the name. Looks really clean in there. Huh. Looks like a Burger King tiara. And there's a water source. So that's why I'm here this morning. It was 0.2 extra miles, which I wouldn't have done, but I needed water. And it looks like the tent site's a little rocky. I'm sure I could have found a place to hang. I'm hanging out in the shelter, doing legs up the wall. Letting the blood drain and all of the fluid drain all the way down. I had a snack, I got some water, and I met Big Granny, she was a delight. Little tiny woman that she said she hiked the trail a long time ago. She lives close to here, and she was
she's going to be doing some trail magic. She's making sandwiches, including lettuce, she said, because thru-hikers like lettuce. But she's doing it like a mile from where I just came from. So she said, "You're going to miss out on my sandwiches." But she had cut up an apple for a snack for herself, and she gave me a slice of her apple. So I got trail magic anyway. Uh, it was really a delight to talk to Big Granny, and part of me wants to walk back just to participate in her trail magic. Um, she wrote a book, How to Hike the Perfect Hike, and she brought a copy up here to the shelter. And she said, "Do you know what the perfect hike is?" And I said no, and she said there isn't one. It's everybody's hike is different. And she said the trail is exactly the same as it was before. And I don't know, it's refreshing talking to her with a smile on her face. She said she's doesn't hike in the cold or the wet anymore because she's too dainty. And I don't know, just a joyful soul. So now that I've had my snack, I got my water, and I have done a little twisting and turning here on the floor in the shelter, and my legs have been hanging in the air for a while. I'm going to get back on trail. My next water source is 6.5 miles. I think a lot of that is uphill, unfortunately, but I will arrive at the campgrounds where I'll get some water, and then there's a camp store where I will get a snack, and then there is a wayside, and maybe I'll even have a hot meal. That would be awesome. It's like it's more than half a mile away, but I'm going to be finishing really early today, and that'll give me lots of time to go eat and come back and set up camp.